I interviewed Malala Yousafzai, who's this amazing 16-year-old young woman, completely articulate in 3 languages, in Pashto, in Urdu, and in English. And her father has fought for girls' rights for school, and her mother is illiterate. And her mother, until she wrote a book, until Malala wrote a book, her mother would not even allow herself to be photographed or be in the same room with men who were not related to her. And so here's the daughter who honors the mother's view of her place in the world, but is encouraged by the father to have another place in the world. And she's a kid from the Swat Valley in North Pakistan. And yet she punches above her weight, and she gives hope to other young people that they can do that too, and the mothers of other young people. It's like, it's so fascinating to me how one little thing can turn something that changes the lives of how these girls and young women will sort of move forward with their lives.
I always wonder how these gems of humanity get developed. Like, how do they rise up? How did she find her moment in history? Obviously by being shot, I think, by the Taliban. But before that, there was a kernel of a leader there, and they're all over the world, and we're lucky if we stumble on them, because this, as you know, represents the hidden talent that needs to be developed, and war covers all that up. War prevents that from happening in so many places.
And yet war is also the reason a whole bunch of people go and start talking to people in a way they wouldn't. And so war is also, not that war is a good thing, but war allows those people who have a voice to start using it because they have to. They have no choice. They have to speak up. And I mean, it's fascinating to me how people survive. I mean, I'm sure you've noticed this in Libya and other places. People faced in severe trauma, they look at their kids and they think, okay, they have to eat. I have to do something. It changes the way they see the world because they have to survive in a way that is so incredibly difficult and basic. And so many don't, of course. And there's a randomness to it that has always left me with a big question mark, right? What lets one person survive and rise above with their voice, and another person is put down in a way that they can never ever recover from? It's the thing that keeps me thinking about so many people I've met.
I think about a lot of people we've met over the years, and often people say to me, you know, do you have nightmares? Do you worry? I don't have psychological trauma from the events that I've witnessed, but I do reflect often on who the people who were involved. And I remember one incident in Libya where the juxtaposition of my life and theirs was so paramount to what I was doing, in terms of I just couldn't get over that on a Sunday in August, I was traveling from London, where we were working, to Libya in order to follow the story of Gaddafi's army collapsing in Tripoli. And on that very Sunday, there was a Quonset hut, a metal hut outside Tripoli, and there were about 150 hostages inside, and the Gaddafi forces were holding them there. And when they retreated, they threw grenades into that Quonset hut and burned most of the people inside. And 6 days later, we were in Tripoli. We went to that place, and just by chance, there was one of the survivors inside, and he was standing there, obviously in deep trauma and shock, and looking around at literally the burned bodies of the people he had been held with. He had managed to escape out a hole in the hut, and he was standing there surveying the carnage of his life. And it was 6 days later, and I kept going, I can't believe I was on a plane, you know, probably watching a movie on a plane, and this horrible evil was happening at the same time. It was really stark to me. And I guess in a way, I mean, that's why we do what we do, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that people need to know about, that we need to shine a light on. And you know, we get caught up in our very comfortable lives.